12 days of Beardsmas 2023. A little bit more of a somber start to the video today because this marks day number 12, the final day of this series for this year. Don't worry, don't get too sad though. I promise it will be back next year. And my goal is to sprinkle in some more history on the channel in 2024. It's got to be related to beards somehow. I can't just randomly throw in history. And no, I am not starting a history channel. There's several reasons why I'm not interested in that right now, but I do really want to get history on the channel more. I enjoy it. I miss teaching history, and this is kind of a cool way to bring it all together. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this journey of the 12 days of Beardsmas, whether it was the stories or the companies or the giveaways or whatever it may be. Maybe it's just my positive and soothing voice. At least I would like to think so. If you guys have enjoyed this, please real quick, hit the thumbs up, aka the like button, and let's go ahead and get right into our facial hair figure history lesson of the day. Now, I have said this once on the series, and I do it on my live streams all the time. Wednesday, Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm live every single week. Join us, guys. But I do drop this from time to time just to see who's listening, but today seems like an even, more perfect version of it. And we're going to get into the history lesson right meow. If you know if you know what I mean there, you're picking up on it. We are going to go over Ernest Hemingway. Now, I hear you guys. I know some of you out there are yelling right now. You're like, Dan, how have you not covered him yet? Why have you waited so long? There is a reason. Not because he wasn't interesting, right? There's a bunch of big names that I haven't covered because I just don't think they're that interesting. Or the reality isn't as good as the myths that surround them. Ernest Hemingway is unbelievably interesting, and that's probably why I haven't covered him yet, because he is vast. His life is deep. There is a ton to cover, and today I'm just going to scratch the surface. Now, a lot of the figures I covered this year, I was good. In 7, 8, 10 minutes, I think I did a great job from start to finish covering all the major things about them. There's no way you can do that with Hemingway. Absolutely no way. There's so many different aspects. We could spend an hour on this part of his life, an hour on this part, and this part. This guy is deep. Now, a lot of you know this, but again, if you don't, he is possibly the greatest American author of all time, winning the Nobel Prize, winning the Pulitzer Prize. This guy is deep. He was a soldier. He was a hunter, a fisherman. He was so many different things. Now, I do need to say, he was deeply flawed. But who of us are not, right? We all have these flaws. He definitely was not a perfect human, and it's kind of a heavy story, but I promise we'll end on a lighter note as it goes through. And let's start all the way back at the beginning, like we always do. Right away, Hemingway's mother messed him up. Him and his sister were less than a year apart, or about a year apart in age, and they looked similar because they were young kids and they were siblings. Well, his mom wanted people to believe that they were twins. So he never got a haircut for the first 3-4 years of his life, and his mom would dress him in more feminine clothes so they looked more alike. That's gonna mess anybody up once you really kind of find out and realize what's going on. Once you start to be about 3 years old, I have young kids, they know what they want to dress like. They know oh, this is a little bit weird, and that's gonna impact him, and I think we're gonna really see that for the rest of his life. He later admits that he hated his mother. That's heavy. But he did bond with his father, especially on their trips to northern Michigan. Woo! And they would go to a place near Petoskey, Michigan, which is one of our favorite places on the planet. If you guys don't think the Great Lakes are just as beautiful as the Caribbean or as any place in the world, just look up Petoskey, Michigan, and look at those turquoise blues, or look up Pictured Rocks. He'd go to the upper peninsula of Michigan as well with his dad. Look up Pictured Rocks. Look up Torch Lake. Michigan is downright beautiful, and it's fresh water with no sharks. That's a good little bonus there. So he'd bond with his dad on these trips. They'd go hunting, they'd go fishing, and he was big time into sports. He did all sorts of different sports, including in high school water polo, just like me, which is pretty dang cool. So he gets out of high school, he actually graduates, and then he becomes a reporter right away. He thought that's what he wanted to do, was become a reporter. In high school, he worked on journalism. I believe he worked on the yearbook and the newspaper and stuff like that. So he wanted to be a journalist. He wanted to be a reporter. reporter. Well, quickly after that, he leaves and goes to Italy to help out in World War I, and he is an ambulance driver. Now, that's the title, but he did all sorts of things, including literally delivering candy to the front lines of the battle, which is where he really seriously got injured. He was delivering candy, then there was mortar fire, he got shrapnel into his legs, he had burns, it was a really, serious injury, and he spoke about how scary this was. He was in a foreign country during war times when he had somebody operating on his leg that didn't speak English. He said, I had no idea if this person was telling me they were going to cut my leg off, which was very common in World War I, or if I was going to be okay. That's really, really terrifying. And then towards that actual end of his stay in Italy, another thing really messed him up. He fell in love with his nurse. Now, she was, I believe, 7 years older than him, which was a trend. He ended up later being with a lot of older women, and relatively older. When I say that she was 7 years older, he was 18 to 19 years old when he was over in Italy. That's a big difference of an 18-year-old and a 25-year-old. So he falls in love with her. He believes they're going to get married. She writes him a letter once he gets back home to the U.S. and says she is not going to join him, that she's actually marrying an Italian officer. Ooh, that one hurts. That one burns. That really messed him up as far as commitment and love. And we have evidence of that because when he gets back, he gets married to his first wife. Yes, first wife. He ends up getting married 4 times and divorcing each wife along the way. He actually wrote a book about each wife as well. Oh, oftentimes it was just simply because if he saw any signs of danger or any kind of problems, rather than figuring them out, he just left because he didn't want to have his heart broken. He wanted to do the leaving first, which there's so many people on this series who are like, I wonder what Freud would say about this. I wonder what a psychologist would say. So he ended up leaving a lot of these women. He lived this really tough life. He would then get involved with a lot of different wars that kind of coincided with the divorce, whether it was the Spanish Civil War, whether it was World War I, whether it was World War II. He got heavily involved as a reporter, as someone who was giving aid, and it really kind of hurt his life. He bounced around to all different places. He lived in France for a long time. He lived in Italy. He lived in the U.S. And then he finally settled in Key West, which is the famous place that he lived, right? His estate that you can go visit today. And the right meow is because it is famous for having all of his cats. Massive cat lover. And they were known for many of them having extra toes, right? 6 toes on one foot. That's pretty cool. And they're today all just wandering around. You can pet them. There's all sorts of videos out there. And he really established himself in Key West. He would still travel to places like Wyoming and go hunting and go fishing. He'd go over to Africa. Just this man was wild. And he was a heavy drinker all along this way, which did not help with his health, did not help with his depression. It really was like adding gasoline to the fire, but this time it was just alcohol. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. He has gone through his divorces. He's on his 4th wife now. He is traveling with their son. He gets notice that his father, right, Ernest Hemingway's father, took his own life. Well, he committed suicide with his father, so Ernest's grandfather, his Civil War pistol. Now, obviously, unbelievably tragic, really, really heavy. What makes it even more sad is he got notice that when his father committed suicide, that day, he was supposed to get a letter from Ernest that he wrote several days before, sent out, that was saying, hey, Dad, I know you've been stressed about finances. Don't worry about it. I have a new book deal. I'm doing very well. You're all set. I'm going to take care of the family. Don't worry about it. That letter arrived to his father, not days, not hours, but literally, look it up, literally minutes after taking his own life. Gives me like goosebumps in the worst way possible. That is so heavy. That just stayed with Ernest really, really bad. He spiraled into depression. He spiraled into abusing anything that he really could, and to the point where he started really acting like his father in the last years of his life, and he became very suicidal. His wife found him with a double-barrel shotgun. She checked him into the hospital. They actually took out every single possible way to help him, even electroshock therapy. When you think back to the old movies and stories, they put him through 3 rounds of this electroshock therapy. Then they released him. Within the day, he ended up taking his own life. heavy, sad. That wasn't the end of it. 2 of his siblings ended up taking their lives. 1 of his granddaughters took her life. In total, 7 of his family members took their lives. Heavy, sad. This is why we get to talk about these things, you guys. Last month was all about men's health awareness on this channel, mental health awareness. That doesn't stop. That's not just a November thing. If you're going through something, you're not alone, and there's people out there that care about you. I didn't even plan on saying this, but I just feel like I really want to and I really need to. If you guys need somebody, please look me in my eye, listen to my heart, reach out to me. Dan C. Bearded on Instagram, Dan_command@yahoo.com. I will be there for you. If you just need to vent and you want someone judge-free to listen, I got you. If you want some advice, I got you. If you need real help, I'll find the right avenue, the right phone number, the right place to direct you to get that real help, you guys. I'm not an expert. I'm not a counselor. I'm none of those things, but I am a friend and I would love to help you guys out. Please don't let it get to that point. You are worth it, and the people around you absolutely depend on you and love you. So please reach out, you guys, okay? So really heavy, really sad, but of course leaves behind a legacy, leaves behind books that are gonna live on forever that many of us read in high school. Now, I do wanna cover some lighter things to end with here that are wildly interesting, such as he survived through 2 different plane crashes, one of them being so bad, he had to read his own obituary because they thought there's no way he survived and they just assumed he died, so they wrote the newspaper about him dying. He lived through 2 plane crashes. Now another one, this is a bit of a wild one, but I was like, there's no way I can leave this out. He was having dinner one day with the Great Gatsby author F. Scott Fitzgerald, and let's just say Fitzgerald was a little bit insecure about something with himself because of something a female made a comment about him, and Hemingway said, well, do you want to go to the bathroom? We'll examine it. I'll give you some honest feedback. If you're thinking, yes, this is what is going on, they go, they examine it. Hemingway says, hey man, totally normal. You have nothing to worry about. If you don't believe me, just go to the Louvre Museum and check out some of the statues that they have. Okay, 2 legends with a very interesting conversation. And then kind of the last 2 things. As I said, he was very well known for big game hunting and fishing to the point where he would go over to Africa and on bare feet, he was like, I'm not even wearing boots. I'm not even wearing shoes. I'm getting on the ground. He would hunt animals like rhinos. He would hunt animals like lions. Yeah. This guy was all in, and then on the fishing side, you're like, okay, yeah, he was rich, he had these things. He's actually a world record fisherman. He knew what he was doing and was able to surround himself with the right people and the right equipment. One day alone, he caught 7 marlins. That's unbelievable. This dude, like I said, I could do an entire story about him as a soldier and helping with the wars. I could do an entire video about his stories, about his marriages, about his interesting facts. This guy is deep. This guy has a ton that's going on. If you found this interesting, go dive deeper. Go do some research. He has a lot that's out there, and for me, it's very fascinating, and he rocked a beard. So I hope that you guys learned something. I know you probably knew who Ernest Hemingway was. You knew a lot about him, but maybe one thing in there you picked out, and you're like, this one will stick with me. Okay, let's go ahead and transition over and turn the page to the Bearded Mack. The Bearded Mack Dan C is your code for 15% off. This company, you guys, is another one where it just like so strongly, I'm like, I really hope you get a chance to try this. I don't care if it's through a giveaway or a friend gifting it to you or you're purchasing. I just think that your beard, your nose, your feeling just deserves to try them. And I would love for you to try. If I can narrow it down, you're right, you got a vast sea of different things out there. I would love for you, and I'm gonna show you guys here another one. I try to show different oils and different things that they have going on. If I could count 3 things that I want you to try from this company, their beard oil, their beard butter, and their solid beard wash bar. I really think that those 3 are very unique. There's not another oil on the market like this. You cannot find this carrier blend anywhere. Their solid beard wash bar is very unique. There's other great solid beard wash bars out there, but theirs is one of a kind that I've never experienced before. The lather is insane. The way that it washes makes your beard feel fantastic, and their butter is really unique. It's a good textured full body butter that's gonna give you deep nourishment and a little bit of styling and hold if you wanna wear it during the day. For real, I wholeheartedly recommend this company, and I can't wait to hear the new people that have tried them come back and leave some feedback. Now, over to the giveaway, the last giveaway of this series. We do giveaways on Monday and Wednesday nights as well, so tune into those streams, you guys. We're giving away a $50 gift card from this company. One last time, sign up with the Gleam link if you have not. Number 2, be subscribed to this channel. And then number 3, leave a positive comment down below. Whatever you want to say, as long as it's positive and putting some good into the world, I'm good with that one today. Thank you guys for supporting this series. If I didn't get these kind comments and the people reaching out to me saying they enjoy this, I don't know if I'd be able to do this on top of everything else that's going on. But because you guys enjoy it, it gets me fueled, it gets me fired up, and I literally loved doing this. So thank you. Please, one more time, Dan C. Bearded. I really hope that you guys, during the tough times especially, stay bearded and stay positive.